Hi.
Hi.
3 times in one day. We're
I
winning.
know.
So talk to me. Tell me about what you're feeling. What questions do you have? What are you sitting with?
Okay, let me put little one down real quick.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good,
Good.
thanks.
Yay. So glad you're here live. So I'm just opening it up. Either of you can go first if you just want to share where you're at, what you're experiencing, ask a question.
Okay. Is it okay if I talk?
Yeah,
Can
go
you hear?
first. Yeah.
Okay. So hi.
Hi.
So I'm Sylvia, and I am in Hungary in Europe now. Uh, but that one thing, I'm going to be in Australia next week, so probably it will be 4 in the morning. So I'm not sure if I can participate online, but I try my best. If we have a jet lag, I will be here. And me, I'm teaching theta healing and other spiritual modalities since 2009, 11, and mostly in Hungarian. And my aim is to do everything in English. But because my market, so I was the first time who bring all this new material to Hungary. So I was here in the Hungarian market, but I wanna go worldwide, and that's the next step. And I'm thinking about retreats. Sometimes I do teaching in different countries. Even I was in New York, Croatia, Australia, Dubai, partially living in Dubai. And I would like to do like world consciousness retreat, things like that. But what my challenge is, first of all,
Yeah.
getting everything in English. I learned everything in English, but I'm speaking Hungarian all the time. And the challenge is to find the people, not for retreat, but who work with me. So, like, I need a personal assistant because I'm doing everything almost by myself, apart from my website. So, this is the next step to have the group of people, a team with me.
That's huge. And I mean, the quality that this is bringing to your personality and your devotion, it's like you're not just learning and taking your gifts, but like it's also in addition to the language. So that level of like endurance and perseverance and challenge is giving you so much more of like evidence and potentiality of like the leader that you get to be and the evidence that you get to be for this level of leadership of like that's really like it's hard. And then you add in language, and that's even harder.
You know what is the biggest challenge? Like, I was living in Sydney for 10 years, and if I want to do something, I do it. So I went to Mexico, I went to US, I went to Arab Emirates to learn. And if at home, if I am, talking about all of these possibilities, connect to this endless infinite potential and creator realities, like a post-communist country in the middle of Europe, they are really like, what the hell are you talking about? In the last 16 years, that was a real challenge. In the beginning, because I was the first who started theta healing in Hungary, that was a big market. After a couple of years, it was a huge success. So I was really the market leader. And then I had my son turn 18 tomorrow. So the whole thing started because he didn't talk. So he was labeled with autism and selective mutism. That was the uh, challenge where I started this whole spiritual journey. And I started to teach people, and my whole business was on Facebook. So I did everything in person in Hungary, or some other places, but only for Hungarians, or mostly 99%. And then Facebook changed, online market changed. During COVID, I was living in Dubai, so I moved back because of the school for my son. The last year is coming, so I'm facing to the challenge. I need to, just catch up with the online market, and I want to go back to the face-to-face teaching because I miss it a lot. And I would like to do in Cyprus, even maybe in Costa Rica or in Bali, so I can go like this everywhere. I have the money because I learned how to create it, and I changed my health situation, going through the menopause stuff, and this is a real challenge. So I'm ready to the next step. That's why I'm here. So thank you. I love your mini course and all the
Yay. Do you
information.
have any questions? Like anything I can support you in right now? Or are you feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I'm waiting for the other informations. The only challenge is the numbers. You know how to create the a retreat, and when you have this Excel, the whole table. Oh my God, I was an accountant long time ago.
She
Became
said, "Not
spiritual.
this, not this again."
So yeah, I will listen with big ears.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you for being here. And as questions come up, like next week, if you're in jet lag and you can't be here, you can just private message me on Instagram or Facebook and ask me, and then I'll respond and give you my feedback, and so you can watch the replay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brittany, do you want to go next? Oh, Noreen, you did it! Yay!
I mean, I can still go, or she can go next.
Yeah, go for it,
Because
Brittany.
I have plenty of time. My challenge right now is allowing myself to be seen on social media again because, like, I had a very abusive first husband. And so when I left him and was going through a divorce, I had a 6-month-old child at the time. And so I had to be very, very careful about anything I put because him and his parents were using it. They were trying to take custody of my daughter. And so now, even though like we've gone through everything, he's completely signed over his rights. That's not an issue anymore. I still have not let go of that fear of what will be used against me from my social media. And so I'm having to unlearn that fear and allow myself to be seen again.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really deep, right? Because it's like with your child, with abuse, like, and that lives in your body, you know? And so energetically, there is a disconnect. Even if you are showing up online, energetically, like you posting, there's fear, there's
Yeah.
doubt, there's worry. And I'm curious, like, what are you most afraid of when it comes to being seen now? Because it sounds like you're afraid of something that actually isn't real anymore.
Yeah. Like I know that is gone. Like that situation itself is gone. But I've kind of lived in the shadows for so long now, like for over a decade, I've been kind of keeping to myself and hiding that it's like, okay, how do I stop hiding?
Yeah. And I think that's it. It's like it's probably even deeper than this relationship because it's like before him, there may have been like parts of you that were hiding and not comfortable. And so it's like where can you get more comfortable with yourself and like fall in love with yourself? And I think like part of this process is like not trying to force it, but acknowledging that it's still there and it's like within your body and it's all that, like we've been talking about the past identity. And what can you do now to create a new identity? Like, how can you reframe your belief system around getting visible? And how can you find a deeper connection to why you want to get visible? That desire for getting visible, the why behind it is so much bigger than the fear if you do.
All right. Yeah, I follow you there.
Do you feel like you have something that comes to mind of like your why? Like, is that big enough for you right now?
I'm working on that right now. I don't know if you've ever read the book Existential Kink.
Mm-mm.
Um, it helps you work on, like, your blockages by accepting the fact part of you, like, really deep down is actually kinda turned on by it.
Mm.
It's an interesting concept, and so I'm working on that to kinda clear out some of the blockages I know I have. Like, I've always put myself in the shadows because, like, my brothers had autism, and so I always had to come last because they needed all the attention, and then I went into abusive relationship after abusive relationship, and then I had my daughter, and I finally got into a healthy relationship and had to relearn how to be in a relationship, and then I had 3 more kids, and now I'm trying to juggle, I know what I am feeling called to do, and I've had to relearn how to love myself after each baby, and now it's like, okay, now how do I put that forward and let everything I've gone through be seen in a way that I'm comfortable with so I can help other women get through the same issues?
Yeah, and I think, like, looking at how living in that past version of you, the one that's afraid to be seen, the one that's, like, staying small because her brothers needed more, it's like, you really deciding that you belong and that you deserve to be seen, and that this isn't so much about you getting visible. It's how many people are hiding, how many people are holding back. And it's even bigger than this, Brittany, because you have 4 children. Did I just hear you say you had 3 more kids?
Yeah, I've got 3 girls and a boy.
See, and so you have 3 girls that are learning from you, even when you don't say anything at all. They feel you. They feel you. So it's like that why of like showing them how to overcome conditioning of you being like the people pleaser, you wanting to make sure that your brothers were good, you wanting all of those things. How can you start to show up and say, "Hey, I've been there before." Like, and this is where you really get to create a process because yes, you've learned how to love yourself again. Yes, you've learned how to prioritize yourself again. But what are you going to do to allow yourself to get more seen and more visible that creates the process of how you do it so that you can show them how you did it. Right now, like it's just a theory. It's not embodiment. And so I think for you, how can you start to embody the leader of self-love and visibility? Because if you love yourself, you're not afraid to be seen. If you love yourself, you're not afraid to say, "Hey, I need this," even though they need, you know what I mean? Like your brothers, yes, they had autism, but like you were a human too. You deserved to be seen too. And so I think that's part of you right now is like, you deserve this. There's no like, because I have, it's, I simply deserve because I'm here and I decide that I'm worthy of it. And when you can start to create and gather your own process through this, you're going to have a whole new layer of embodiment, which is what you said on the call. Like, I had no idea I needed embodiment, and then here we are, and I
Yeah, I just saw you were doing, like, the mystery offer. I'm like, $33. Okay, let's go. VIP offer. Okay, let's go.
yeah. Yeah, and so I think for you, this is like that I'm crafting my process of what does it truly mean to be an embodiment of self-love? Because that embodiment of self-love is visibility, is being seen, is like, I deserve to be at the table even if, even though, and how can you show up as that version of you now, even when there might be a little bit of fear? And what would that shift for you in your marketing and your messaging? How would you shift in the way you show up online? Like, where would you put yourself out there more? Would you start going live more? Would you start reaching out to people to collaborate more? Would you go on more podcasts? Like, what could you start to do in the doing of this in order to become it?
Yeah. I'm sorry, if you see me turning, it's because 'cause I'm a pen and paper person,
That's
so
okay.
I'm writing everything down.
Yeah, no worries.
Very much a pen and paper person. Um, okay, I've got, like, so many things written down now. Yeah. I do know I want to start going live more, and that's one of my hangups. And I did finally go live for the first time a couple weeks ago. And what's funny is I did that and I did my new moon tarot reading, and the challenge card I drew was the Tower. And
Mm,
so I actually got really excited because it was like things are going to start going your way as soon as you get over this challenge. And then our air conditioner broke. And I don't know if you've ever been in the South in June. It's like 110 degrees here
oh my
today,
God.
like 100% humidity. And my biggest migraine triggers is heat.
Yeah, and think about the heat that happens when someone gets nervous about hitting go
Yeah.
live. You know, you're literally seeing a symbol of what your fear will, how your fear will manifest when you start going live. And the only way for that to happen is just to start going live. Like, I would challenge you to start going live every single one day a week, every Monday at 9 a.m., every Thursday at 12 p.m. Like, and just do it. And the way that I would organize this is inside of Instagram Gold, there is a section on Instagram Lives. I would watch that. And then I would create an Instagram story graphic that constantly reminds people of you going live at a certain time every X day of the week, and make that a commitment to yourself, because A, you can take clips from that and create reels, but B, it's going to help you with your marketing and your messaging, and it's going to help you get over that tower.
All right.
Yay, so
I
glad.
think that covers most of my stuff
Yeah, and
because a lot of it's just we've had things coming up and it all kind of lines up. Like I've had to face my past this past couple weeks and all the abuse I went through. And then the embodiment stuff came up and like you were talking about everything you've gone through and like the goals like me and my husband are working on for our household, we started moving towards them and then of course that tower hit and now we're trying to keep moving in a positive way without backtracking too much. And
Mm,
so I think that covered just about all my questions for this time.
yeah, and then as, like, over the next week, you can bring it to our next call.
Okay.
Thanks, Brittany.
You're welcome.
Hi, Noreen. Did you figure it out, love? There you are.
Yeah, you know what? I just went on my phone because my computer, I don't know what is wrong. And thankfully, I don't have any video sessions today because I don't know what happened. It just wouldn't unmute and it wouldn't unstick my picture. And anyhow, so I'm ecstatic to be here. And you know how much I love you, Amber. I mean, it's funny because you said, what, made you decide to go for the offer, because I know like now I am ready. When I did the sold out retreats, like I did it kind of half-assed
Mhm.
and I just wasn't ready and I didn't put my all into it. And so I had a few retreats I ended up canceling because I didn't get anybody, but that was no surprise to me, like hindsight. Um, so I did now, I have, which I don't know, Brittany, if you've ever heard of this, because I think this would be awesome for you, is it's what I do, is EMDR. It's eye move, well, it's a mouthful. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. But basically it's a type of trauma therapy because we store trauma in our body and it really helps get that trauma out of our body. And there's just not a lot of talking. It's like watching someone's fingers going back and forth basically, or a light bar or something, or anyhow. But so I'm doing an Alaskan cruise for EMDR therapists in 2 months, and I got 12 people to sign up, and I hired two other therapist consultants who do EMDR who are also going to teach advanced skills. So the three of us will be teaching the days we're at sea. And then when you're in port, you're in port, you can do whatever you want. You get your continuing ed credits and you get your credits for EMDR. And so I mean, I'm glad that I signed up 12 people, but I would have liked to sign up like 25, would have been awesome. Um, and then I did this Bali retreat, which everyone, before I did it, like I asked a lot of people and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. Oh my God, I would love to go to something like that, blah, 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 blah. And I post about it online all the time, but I haven't done any paid advertisements, which I think I need to do that. I need to start like doing more lives and reels and stuff. I guess I just don't know like what else to say besides what I said in the first one, because otherwise it's just going to be so redundant.
Mhm.
So I think that's where I'm just stuck. But I want to really pivot my therapy business into a retreat business, whether it be day retreats or retreats in Bali. Next year, people have already asked me to do a EMDR advanced skills retreat in Hawaii, which I'm like, okay, because a lot of people don't like going on cruises, but they'll go to Hawaii. So I'm going to do that. But I would like to do it in Costa Rica also. I was supposed to go to Costa Rica 2 months ago, and that's when I wound up in the hospital sick. So
Mm.
I missed that retreat. I was very bummed. Um, so I just kind of feel like I'm a little stuck, I just kind of need the push and some more knowledge as to like how to, kind of get that message out there.
Yeah, so one thing is, when is your retreat on the yacht?
It's no, yeah, it's Norwegian Cruise Lines. It's like a huge cruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's August 24th to 31st.
And when did you say Bali was?
Bali's next year,
Yeah. So,
April 2nd to 9th, which
so
is
what
what I want to focus on.
I would do is I would wait, like, one, live your life and share when you feel inspired to talk about Bali. But also in August, you're going to have so much content from the experience. And then that's when people get the FOMO and the desire. They see you living it. So things that I would do now is, why is Bali going to be different than the cruise? Why is Bali going to be different than an Alaskan cruise? I mean, eat all the horrible food that you can, yummy food, but like an abundance of food, or go to Bali and eat like completely different in a land of spirituality and like different practices and like nature and natural medicine. Like they're two different worlds. The cruise is going to attract a certain type of people and Bali is going to attract a certain type of people. So I would really start to sit with, what is the energy and the essence of the Alaskan cruise? Same modality, same therapy, right? But the energy field of the container is completely different. And so what you want to start thinking about is, why Bali for this type of work? A
Oh,
land.
no, no. So Bali, I should have clarified this too. Bali is just a woman's wellness retreat. Any woman, no therapy, like a lot of sound bath, mindfulness, yoga,
It's a
like
completely
the
different
Bali
retreat.
rituals.
Yeah, so
What?
it's a completely different retreat. So then what you
Totally different.
So you want to really, what's the essence of this retreat? Why should I come to Bali with you? What is in it for me? That's what you want to think about. What's in it for me? And also, I have continued to add into the sold out retreat mini course. There's like 10 different trainings on selling your vision. You really need to craft a, what is this wellness retreat about? And while you're on the Alaskan yacht, you can really gather A, testimonials, B, experiences, and so much content for selling Bali, and sell why this retreat is completely different than the Bali retreat. And I think that some of the people that go on the Alaskan cruise are going to want to come with you to Bali if you change their life enough that while they're on the cruise, they're going to be like, how can I sign up for the next one? And then that's something that you can keep in mind, is like, how do you pitch them into the next experience? Like, hey, now let's go to Bali because this retreat is so different. Here's the essence of this. And so I would journal on what's in it for them. Why do they want to come? What experience are you going to hold for them? And it might not be therapy. It might just be a women's wellness retreat, but like your magic and why people are coming to go with you is the same. Whatever it is you teach or however you hold the space, it's your energy, right? Like you said, I came to this because of you and I signed up for this because of you. People are going to come to Bali because of you. So really turning up your it factor, but also like thinking about them in mind. Why should they come to Bali? And also just knowing you're asking people to invest in a 24-hour flight plus, maybe the same price of the retreat to get there. You have to get good at selling them into this experience because they're investing a whole day of travel to get there and a whole day to come home, plus the cost of the flight. So when you go into my sold out retreat mini course, I walk you through how I sold the last month of my retreat for December. And one of them is why people should go on a retreat, why most people don't go on a retreat, the things that hold people back from going on a retreat. Here's why you should go on the retreat. Here's why selling a retreat is the hardest thing to sell, because you're asking them to take a week off for the retreat. Now you're asking them to take 2 extra days to travel across the world where they're going to feel like jet lag for 2 days and crap. So it's like all of the things that you have to sell them into is so much more than your retreat. And so really think about that over the next couple months and create a Google document of different angles that you can start to navigate and talk about, because talking about a retreat isn't enough. How are you positioning yourself, you, the it factor, and how are you positioning the retreat itself is going to be like, I have a client that I just started working with in my mastermind, and she just started her business, and she says, I posted about it yesterday, no one signed up. And I said, well, you posted about it yesterday and no one signed up. And then I go and see it. And I told her, I was like, you're just giving him the boring details. Free masterclass. I'm going to teach you this. Here's the link to sign up. They're not sold. So it's like, people don't care where it is, how much it is. They want to know why. Like for me, why do you want to step into the spotlight? Go read my content. I had so many different angles, and those angles came from me walking into the spotlight. So for you walking into starting your wellness business, your retreat business, why? Why are retreats so important to you? Why are retreats so powerful? Why should women gather together in Bali? Like there's so many different angles, and I think just creating different hooks in a Google document and different reasons why you're passionate about it and different things that are going to happen for them, and then talking about it in different ways, because you can't just sell it the same way over and over. A, you'll get bored, and B, people will not be sold on it. So go back through that.
Right. Okay,
And
will do.
once you do, and if you have time over this next week to create the Google document, if you want to bring that with next week on a day that you can come, like let's brainstorm some ideas together or anything else like that comes to mind over the next week.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I leave Friday for Virginia,
Yeah.
so
I'm glad you get to see your
I know.
son.
I know. That's the exciting part, and then I have to work the rest of the week.
I know, and I was like, not vacation alone, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no vacation. Okay, thanks, Amber. That's really helpful.
Anyone else have questions or want to share?
Could I just say one more thing? I didn't hear Sylvia much because I was busy trying to figure out my whole computer thing. But I do want to say to you, Brittany, that I so appreciate your vulnerability and your being so open, because that's hard to do, and I just think that you'll be able to, build what you want to build because you have that passion for it now. And you're in a space where you're ready for it. But to be that vulnerable with things that are, so difficult, that's big. So kudos to you.
Thank you. That actually means a lot because it took a long time for me to be able to open up about it.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Yeah, I think it's huge, like, just to be able to, like, share where you're at on a group of strangers, like, in my masterminds, we get closer and intimacy builds over time, but to be able to just join in a group and a program where you haven't built the connection and the safety, it's like, that too is just a symbol of your devotion to getting more visible and moving past, like, what's happened in the past to step into this, future identity. So Noreen, I love you so much for sharing that insight.
Thanks. And also, I just want to let you guys know that for the next week of all the VIPs, I will not be around because I'm doing a training. That's why I'm going to Virginia to do this EMDR training to assist for other therapists to learn how to do EMDR. So I'm really bummed, but it's like right smack in the middle of the day. So I'll have to catch the replay.
Yeah, and so for you or anyone that's listening, if you have questions but you can't come to the VIP, you can always send them to me privately, and I will answer them on the call for everyone and for you when you watch the replay.
Awesome. Thanks.
And I know it's day one, so we're just like kind of integrating what happened and if you were there the whole time or you're gonna go and watch the replay, but use this next week to like fill out the workbook, sit with it, fill up pages, really sit with like the shifts. And then next week is where we can really dive into some of the beliefs, the qualities, the personality traits, the way you hold yourself. Like that can be a deeper layer of these conversations next week. And I know some of you won't be able to be here, but even if like you have this thought or this takeaway, you can bring it into a private message with me and then I'll talk about it here for the replay for you.
I'm just gonna say good morning really quick. My name's Anna Kani. It's 3:30 in the morning. It's in Japan. And yeah, I'm glad I was able to wake up. I just figured I'd let my internal alarm clock do its job. I am very much Lon Amber schedule, waking up at 3 to 5:30 when my son, who's 2, wakes up. So it's my time to either do business or it's usually my time to do my own self practice. I do qigong and just other meditative stuff in the mornings just to start my day, and then we kind of get started. So yeah, I'm 43. I'm a military spouse, so that's why I'm in Japan because my husband's stationed here. And I guess based on the last person who just went, why I joined Spotlight, I kind of jumped on the retreat, sold out retreat, like probably a year ago, but never actually went through the training. And a lot of shifts have been happening within my own business. Just trying to basically position myself so that I'm not having to struggle to reinvent my business every time we have to move because of the military, which happens to be every 2.5 years. And from a business standpoint, it really sucks. Um, and now that I'm a mom, this next move, whenever the military decides to move us, is going to be pretty big because I now have a child to actually move with us, which is always hard. And so I'm ready. I'm tired of just trying to reinvent the wheel, and I'm starting to understand the power of investing in oneself. I did a lot of personal development last year, which kind of just pushed me to prime me, I guess, in a way, for Amber. And then it took like a few weeks, and then I ended up was like, you know what, let's just do it. And I joined the collective. So I've been slowly going through all the stuff there, listening to the podcast. She's one of many coaches that I now have. And so just trying to divide my time and then taking action essentially. So I'm a women's wellness and stress mastery coach. I'm a nurse by trade. And I basically started a stand-up paddleboard business when we first moved here to Japan. Then COVID hit. I was able to keep the business somewhat alive um, because it's really easy to social distance when you're paddleboarding. But it was still pretty hard. Japan was very strict with um, their restrictions for a really long time. And then I got pregnant and everything changed. I wasn't expecting it. I was 40 by the time it actually happened. And it kind of changed everything for me from not just life, but business too. And so I started to pivot to see what I could do in this season of change. And I leaned into prenatal yoga because that's what I was certified to do. And it's just kind of blossomed as I've blossomed into motherhood. But because I was an older mom, it came with its own stuff. And so that's what I focused on. So I mainly focus on supporting moms who are starting families later in life, so 35 and older, who are considered geriatric, in helping them enjoy their pregnancy and not just survive, but actually thrive motherhood. Because there's a lot of stigma with being a mom over a certain age. There's more complications and there's a lot more anxieties and stuff. And it also kind of transcends into that postpartum period. And so I'm using everything that I've basically learned over the last 20 plus years, both in the medical field and just in my own yoga and mindfulness trainings to support women. So I'm hoping Amber will help me step into that role to let the world know that I'm here.
Hmm. Wow, Annika, Anakani, you are amazing. Like, what a story! Like, what a freaking story and testament, for your boy too. We both have 2-year-olds, which is really sweet. But I think just, you are so crystal clear on what you do and who you serve. And now it's just, I'm not sure like what layer or level of like in the business you're in right now, but like how can you bring that message to more people? And I don't know if you're like cross-pollinating and doing podcasting and being interviewed and doing like lives, but I would step into collaborating with people inside of the collective and going live and networking with them in there to get in front of more people because there's so many moms in there as well. But I'm so glad that you're here, and I feel like your life is a testament that it's time for you to really step into the spotlight.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, yes, I'm starting to listen to your private podcasts and stuff. And then, some of my other coaches. I have a podcast actually in a few days. It's going to be my first year anniversary. But I was only doing it like once a month. And so now, kind of moving forward and taking that, action of not just listening and absorbing all this information and this coaching, but actually taking action on all this stuff, is that I'm going to start doing it twice a month. And the first one will be me just basically doing my training and podcasting. And then I am actually starting to ask people that I admire as moms to come on. And so I can start to get used to interviewing. And so it's just a lot of just taking that backseat, giving myself the opportunity or just the permission to have the grace to not show up for like a week or two, so that I can really strategize my marketing. For me, the hardest thing has been micro niching, which is why I've chosen prenatal and postnatal anxiety to just solely focus on for my social media, to just make it easier for myself, because I can talk about anything. I mean, I can talk about affirmations, pranayamas, asanas, my own personal experience with it, because it's something that thought I would never experience. And not only did I experience prenatal anxiety, but I also experienced postnatal anxiety and postpartum depression. And I just felt like I'm Anakani. You hear my voice. I'm very zen. Like it takes a lot to work me up. I'm a yoga instructor. I teach meditation. There's no way this is going to happen to me. And then it did. And it's like, oh shit, like this is something that is non-biased to anybody. And I don't think people talk about it enough. So for me, it's just like starting to strategize to be intentful in what I post and to make sure that I understand when I'm posting things, what is ultimately the end game? Like, why am I posting this? What do I actually, what am I selling essentially? Which is something that has always been hard for me, is just, as an empath and as a caregiver pretty much my entire life, we tend to be very, not selfish in our own care and just asking. So, like, asking for money for something that you just intuitively want to give is really hard for those of us who are caregivers. And so that's been my struggle. And so I'm just like listening to your words and I'm like, okay, you can do this. People are going to pay you for these services, for this guidance, um, and just kind of reaffirming to myself that I am worthy and that it's time. So thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for waking up at 3:30 a.m. And I'll just say that part of us charging isn't just about like I get like we want to give it away. And when we have to be able to like pay the bills and continue to invest in our skills and all of our needs, when we don't charge, it's at the sacrifice of self. And so it's saying that someone else's life is more important than your own. Instead of saying, hey, I have something valuable that's going to bring you value, here's an energetic exchange. And it's just an energetic exchange that it's like, we both value this. I have it, you want it, let's trade. And before it was like, trading for milk, trading for bread. And now we just labeled the plastic card, the credit card, like, give me the digits to your credit card and I'll give you the magic medicine. But like before, it was different resources. And so this is like really like for me, it was deep work because like I used to teach yoga and it was, well, because you're a yoga teacher. And it was like, but I was struggling. Like I was driving 2 hours in the car every day to make thousands of dollars a year, and I had no life. I couldn't do anything. And so that for me was like really deep work of changing how I looked at the energetic exchange. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for sharing. I feel like I got to know so many of you more, Sylvia, Noreen, Brittany. Anakani is in Japan, 3:30 a.m. Well, I will see you all next week. And again, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, ask questions in my messenger, in my Instagram, and I will address you in the replays of our VIP sessions. Okay? Bye.